The High Plains Arboretum is a part of the former USDA Horticultural Research Station, which started in 1928 with a mission to increase livability of the High Plains through the release of hardy fruits, vegetables, and ornamental trees and shrubs.
In the 1930s, the station planted 1,500 fruit trees: apples, apple crabs, plums, pears, and sour cherries. They did so with the idea to see what would grow here, what would be the best varieties for the Rocky Mountain States, specifically here in Wyoming.
At its peak, the station consisted of thousands of varieties of trees and shrubs collected from all over the world.
Beginning in the 1890s, the U.S. Department of Agriculture sent forth plant explorers around the globe to bring back plants that would be useful for the citizens of the United States. The very first plant explorer was Dr. Ennie Hansen from South Dakota State University. They chose him because he could speak 5 different languages. He went to Russia 7 times alone to bring back plants. Often he would pass through northern China on the way on his plant explorations. Well, these apricots right behind me here were some of the plants that he brought back that ended up here at the Cheyenne station. In 1927, on one of his last trips through the Asia, China, and Russia, he found the northern range of the apricot, which was now known as the Manchurian apricot, and the area was 50 below zero. And he brought them back to Brookings, South Dakota, and planted all the seedlings out, and after 9 years, he made 12 selections. And that same year, he planted 4 of each of the 12 selections here at the station. Today, only 3 of them survive. These behind us, 2 of them are Hulan, and the one in the distance is called Sinnoh. And they're wonderful drought-tolerant plants.
In the early 1970s, the horticulture research ended as the USDA research station took on a new mission of rangeland research. Since that time, the trees and shrubs relied on natural precipitation and minimal care for nearly 30 years. Many trees perished as a result. In 2000, a group of concerned citizens formed the High Plains Arboretum to preserve a 62-acre site on the station. In 2008, the management of the High Plains Arboretum was turned over to the City of Cheyenne, whose goal is to maintain and improve the site through the care and replanting of historical plants and by introducing adaptable plants for the region. Today, the Cheyenne Urban Forestry Division, along with the Cheyenne Botanic Gardens, maintains the Arboretum. Their focus has been on preserving existing plants, replacing original plants that have been lost, and adding new, unique plants to the Arboretum.
The Cheyenne Urban Forestry Division is responsible for a wide range of maintenance activities at the Arboretum. These include mowing the grass 2 to 3 times during the growing season, flood irrigating the entire Arboretum, fencing and hand watering newly planted trees, mulching with wood chips around all plants, pruning, and planting. We plant around 30 to 40 trees and shrubs annually. We don't have any full-time staff dedicated to the Arboretum, so we have to try and balance the many needs of the Arboretum with our primary responsibility of the 12,000 city-owned trees in town. Luckily, we do have a part-time employee who is paid for out of a grant, who works about 10 hours a week, but he alone cannot meet the many requirements of an Arboretum this size. The Cheyenne Botanic Garden staff and Laramie County Master Gardeners help out as well, and we are grateful for their support.
In the 1930s, during the Great Depression, the Civilian Conservation Corps built a very effective and durable flood irrigation system that utilizes valves and cement canals to bring water to the Arboretum. Presently, this system remains fully functional and is being utilized to water sections of the Arboretum 2 to 3 times throughout the growing season.
This is the Hung-Hai-Tung crabapple found in northern China in 1926 by another USDA plant explorer by the name of P.H. Dorset. He found it on the Fa Hua Shu Buddhist temple where it was used as a living stupa, a living memorial for poor monks after they died. He brought it back to this country and now here it is, 80 years old at the Cheyenne station, where it has flowers nearly 2 inches in diameter, double the size of the #1 leading crabapple sold in America, Spring Snow. It's just probably the most favorite tree at the station by the majority of the people who come here to visit these trees.
The re-establishment of an apple orchard has begun with the planting of apple species once found at the Arboretum, and new varieties being added for the purpose of testing their endurance.
One project we're excited about is the reestablishment of an apple orchard. Prior to the mid-1970s, the research station maintained an extensive apple orchard and allowed the public to come out and pick apples. We hope to reestablish many of the species that they had back then, and eventually invite the public to come out and enjoy Cheyenne-grown apples.
I think this is going to be a great place to come take the family and sample the delicious fruits that we know can be grown here in Wyoming. These are bur oaks, native to the eastern United States, extending westwards through the Midwest, and where the western range all is in Crook County here in the state of Wyoming. The acorns were collected in the 1940s and planted here in the station, and these wonderful, stately old trees have been here ever since. Once they get established, they are very drought tolerant, they're long-lived, they easily can live up to 200 years old, and the acorns are important seed sources for our wildlife. Great trees.
Developing and installing informational signs and panels is an ongoing process at the High Plains Arboretum as funding allows. All trees and shrubs have identification tags, and several dozen have individual signs that provide basic information about the respective plant.
A detailed master plan has been developed for the future of the Arboretum, and it includes interpretive pathways, an outdoor amphitheater for various events, and a real nice interactive learning center. And also as part of the future development, the historic greenhouses at the Arboretum are a very important component of that.
The historical greenhouse and lath house is an intricate part of the Arboretum's future.
Well, a grant has been obtained for some on-site signage. Any future developments at the Arboretum will be dependent not only on community support, but also future funding. The Arboretum really is an excellent opportunity to develop an area for passive outdoor recreation, for horticultural research, and also an opportunity to test new varieties of plant materials that are drought tolerant and hardy to the region.
Why are we doing this? To preserve history, continue tree research on new species for future releases, provide a passive recreation and educational experience for the community, and to introduce new hardy releases by partnering with growers and nurseries. The High Plains Arboretum is located just west of town at Round Top and Hildreth Roads. The High Plains Arboretum, making a connection from the past to the future.